Hey there, you're listening to Becoming More Me. I'm your host, Teresa Lear-Levine. This is the podcast for busy-minded entrepreneurs that want to be more and do less. And these episodes are here to inspire you to become more of the person you feel called to be in this world. And gosh darn it, let it be easy, right? So I am an EFT master practitioner. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm an international best-selling author of the book Becoming More Me, Tapping into Success, Subconscious Secrets of an ADHD Entrepreneurial Mom, and helping you get out of your way, shed light on your shadows, be more and do less, and call your power back so that you can make the most of this never-ending journey is really what I enjoy and totally my jam. Today, we're going to be exploring how to make the most of 2025, and I have so many gems for you as I reflect on 2024 and also look ahead. It all starts now. Hey guys, so you may hear in the background a little bit of a whirring sound. I am enjoying my brand new walking pad. I honestly have just decided that a podcast doesn't need to be perfect. You know, I walked outside with you when I recorded the one last month about my dog passing away. It performed just as well as ones where I sit down and try to make sure that the audio and video are fantastic. And I've gotten to the point in my business where content creation takes a lot of time. And I also want to be moving. I want to be taking care of myself. You know, I preach about self-care all the time. I preach about mental health. And I also have noticed that when I'm in motion, when I am moving, I'm more creative. Things flow through me easier. And you deserve that. So hopefully the background noise isn't too bad. I did a little test. It didn't bother me too much, kind of like white noise. So feel free to give me feedback. If you need me to sit on my butt and be stagnant, I will do that for you, but reluctantly. So I hope that this just encourages all of you to do your thing in a less perfect way that is more supportive of what you need. So that's all I'm doing here. So I have so much to share with you today, and I'm not going to go too deep on any one thing. And there's just been so much. I haven't done a solo episode since I did the one about my dog passing away. And that was really kind of a special and different sort of episode. If you haven't listened to it already, I highly encourage you to go take a listen if you are a pet person. I also recorded 2 separate rounds of EFT tapping that go along with it. So if you're in the process of losing a pet because they're getting a little older and you just know that it's inevitable that before long that's just going to be what happens, or if you've recently lost a pet and you're grieving, I think those things might really, really help you. I had the pleasure last month of going away to yet another retreat. I'm a huge fan of any time that I can get in person with people who are inspiring, whether it's mentors or just fellow business owners that are doing things in their own way where we can really share ideas and learn and grow together. I'm a total fan of that, and it's something that I've been doing more and more over the years, and I can see the correlation with business growth. Also a dream of mine to get into doing more in-person events in my own business in 2025. So just putting that out there. If I were to host something in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, would you come hang out? Would you take part? Shoot me a message. Let me know. It might impact my decision or my placement of the retreat. But anyway, last month I had the pleasure of going to another retreat with my business collective, and it was in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I'd never been to that part of Mexico, so I was definitely thrilled for seeing someplace new. That's like some of my favorite things in life are traveling to new places and eating at new restaurants. So it checked all the boxes for me. And this time, I stepped out of my comfort zone even further, and I invited my husband to come along with me and experience it. It wasn't a couples retreat, it was a business retreat. There was one other couple there, and a couple of the guys' wives did come in for, dropped in here and there, but it was not a couples retreat. This was me inviting Jeff to experience more of what I'm doing in my business, more of the ways that I want to be growing in the coming year, and also to understand the challenges that I'm having as a business owner and the ways that he can support and that we can do this more together. And I'm so glad I did it. I definitely thought long and hard about it, and it was the more vulnerable choice that I could make. You know, anybody can go to a retreat with people I know so much. I mean, there are some people in there I've been working with for, 2.5 years and seeing on Zoom calls 3 times a week. I know them pretty darn well at this point. And a bunch of them we were together at the retreat in May that I recorded several podcasts about. But bringing my husband is a totally different level of vulnerability. You can't bullshit around somebody that knows you as well as your spouse, especially we have a very close, very connected relationship. So it turned out to be really beautiful. This was another retreat where Dr. Divi was there. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I've got several episodes here with Dr. Divi. I interviewed her back in September. It's a great episode. We talked a lot about the May retreat, and I talked a lot about what happens with her in the retreat space after the May retreat. So if you look at some of those episodes from June, maybe even July, you'll see those, the ones where I talked about Chilliwack. She's amazing, and she was able to, again, kind of hit it out of the park, dial in on where, my spirit needed a little rejuvenation. And one of the things that we discovered was that I have not been celebrating as fully as I really need to be in order to feel the way I want to feel and create the way that I want to create. And it was such a beautiful reminder. And as is often the case in coaching, we need the reminders on the things that we're also really good at helping other people with. I help women celebrate all the time. I am a student of Mama Gina's, brags, desires, gratitudes. It's like the bread and butter of creating in a pleasurable way and really manifesting the way that you want. And yet it was noticeable and palpable that I kind of dropped off a little bit and that I was placing my self-worth where the money was coming in instead of where I was serving so well from the heart and creating what felt good. So that was so important to me because while income multiplication is my favorite thing to help myself do and help other people do, it doesn't only happen by multiplying income. So there's so much more to it. And we had so many great breakthroughs. Jeff and I had so many great breakthroughs. We got to enjoy that day with Dr. Divi. We got to go to this beautiful land at Terra Noble and experience just an amazing cacao ceremony. We got to do the traditional Mexican sweat lodge experience of Temazcal, which I should just do a whole other podcast talking about these beautiful experiences that we had, the amazing people that we were surrounded with the entire time, and just Mexico was great. And the thing with an experience like that is that you come back changed. There's certain songs I'm listening to now that just take me right back into the experience. Every time I hear the waves of the ocean, because we literally stayed right on a private beach with the ocean waves crashing, you could hear them all night while we slept. We could hear them all day while we masterminded together. And everything we did, the ocean was present. And all of these ocean analogies came in for our lives and our businesses. And you come back from something like that different. And I know I felt that way in May. And even though I tried to bring the experience back to Jeff and share as much as I could, it's just impossible. So being able to have him there with me and have us both changed for the better and more connected than ever was immensely valuable. So definitely super stoked that I, went to that edge of my comfort and really dug in because it's already been worthwhile, and I know it's going to continue to be really worthwhile for both of us and for becoming more me as a business. And I think it's also a testament to the importance of investing in yourself before you're ready. I've been going to live events, paying to go to retreats and other things since I had a very unprofitable business many years ago. And when you're in that place, it can sometimes feel, and this is coaching too, I've always paid for coaching. There's not been a year since I decided to be an entrepreneur that I have not paid for private one-on-one coaching of some kind, even when it felt like I was making pennies. And that has been a non-negotiable for me. And it's so important. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's invest in yourself before you feel ready, because it'll be really hard to get to the place where you feel ready without investing in both business coaching and subconscious and nervous system coaching. And this is something I'm going to be bringing together next month. January 10th, I'm going to be doing my next workshop. It's a free workshop. It's called Subconscious Synergy, Elevate Your Business Strategy for 2025. And it's all about how to unlock hidden potential for growth and acceleration. And this idea came to me through my own experience because I used to invest in like straight up business coaching. I still do, but it didn't have the support I needed for my nervous system. It didn't have the unlocks I needed for my subconscious mind. So while the coaching was solid, it wasn't that these coaches were bad or didn't know how to do their thing, but I had blocks. I had programming that needed to be reprogrammed. I had some shifts that needed to be made, and there wasn't anybody in these containers assessing that, addressing that, or understanding that. So I was left with a lot of information that I felt incapable of implementing to the degree it needed to be for me to be able to succeed. Does this ring true with any of you? Have you experienced this? If you have, I highly recommend go to teresalearlevine.org/workshop. You'll be able to register for that free workshop right there and come live. Block out an hour, hour and a half on the 10th of January. I believe it's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Come live. I do hot seat coaching. I do Q&A. I will personalize the experience to what you are currently struggling with and being challenged by, and it will be massively valuable for you. And if you can't make it live, register anyway. It's the only way you're going to get the replay. But I tell you what, it wasn't until I started working with that side of things in conjunction with business coaching, and now I actually do a good bit of business coaching along with helping people to implement nervous system nourishment and subconscious mind breakthroughs. But before that, it was like I was an information collector. And I could understand why I needed to do something. I could understand how I needed to do it, but somehow I just couldn't do it. Something would always get in the way, and it was me, and it was the stuff that's happening between these two ears, but I couldn't identify that myself. I couldn't make that breakthrough on my own without a different kind of learning and a different kind of implementation. You know, too much information leaves just about zero room for inspiration. And then we really get into a place of self-doubt. And this is one of the things that I put a lot of my energy in coaching towards, which is eliminating that self-doubt, elevating that confidence. But the way to do that is by dialing in on your intuition. Because so often, I can't tell you how many aspiring entrepreneurs, aspiring business owners, people who are just starting out, or even people who are successful but just kind of stuck at taking things to the next level, they are having difficulty because they're not using their intuition and they're not doing anything to learn how to use their intuition. And then they get stuck feeling like they're not prepared enough for something. Maybe they don't feel prepared enough to create content. They don't feel prepared enough to speak on a podcast or to do live public speaking or to coach people one-on-one. Whatever the case may be, they feel like they're not prepared enough, and they absolutely blank out and forget that everything they need is already in here. It's already inside of themselves, and all they need to do is learn how to open up to that consciousness, open up to their own wisdom, allow things to flow, tap into the collective, tap into the person or people that they're serving, and let her rip. It's already there. It doesn't need to be fine-tuned and polished 10 different times before you serve it up to the world. You can be imperfect in your perfection, still make great money, and learn and grow while you're doing that. You don't need to learn how to do it before you go to that next level of success. And I think that is one of the hardest lessons for a lot of people to assimilate and put to use in their life. So definitely consider joining me at that workshop so that you can really discover how to align your subconscious mind with your business goals to create ease, focus, and abundant success in the 2025 year. We're going to do all sorts of things during that workshop. It's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely go to teresalearlevine.org/workshop to reserve your spot now. Totally free. All right? So intuition's mega important. Whatever you can do to lean into that is going to massively, massively help you. And, sometimes you just don't get to see the ripple effect of all the things that you work through and work on until you look back. Hindsight's always 2020. I was having this massively grateful moment the other day when I realized that the year that I spent really dedicating to podcasting, which was 2021 and 2022. I hired an agency. I worked with them for a year. They got me on the majority of probably the first 50 or so podcasts that I was on back when I was just figuring this out. What do I talk about? Who am I talking to? What exactly do I do anyway? All these things that honestly, I think we're all trying to figure out all the time. I've been doing this for a really long time and I still go, is that still who I want to serve? Is that still what I want to do? Is there a change in the air? And that's also the beautiful thing about having your own business. You can change it anytime you want. And I'm always up-leveling into serving that person that I was a few years back. So that changes, right? But I had just onboarded a client, super easy. It was like, less than a half an hour of talking. She's already enrolling in my one-on-one. And I did the back tracing from it. And I was like, okay, so this person came to me because the night before she attended a live book club meeting because I was on a podcast of someone who does book clubs for her group that she works with. They chose my book after I was on her podcast. They read it during November, and I came on in early December to just do an open Q&A, to talk about it, to answer questions, and it was such a cool experience. And if anybody's looking to do a book club with their group, feel free to reach out. I loved the experience, and it's happened only a few times, and it's something I feel like I should have promoted doing more, because I think that when you can read a book, discuss it as a group, and then have the author come in and contribute, it's really cool. It's really cool. I know I love attending things like that when I read books. So I had done this book club because I'd been on this podcast and they chose my book. I was on that podcast because I was on another podcast that was, there was a relationship there. So I got introduced afterwards. And the podcast that I was on that introduced me to the podcast where I did the book club, I got an introduction there because the person that introduced me was a one-on-one client of mine who became my one-on-one client because I was on her podcast. And I was on her podcast because of the agency that I worked with. So there's all of these little degrees there that point back to one decision that I made that felt crazy at the time. It was a lot of money to work with this agency for the year. And I remember talking to my husband about it and being like, I don't know, but something just tells me this is going to make a difference. And it was a crazy year because, when you work with a podcast agency, some podcasts that you go on are awesome. Some podcasts are like crickets. You don't really get a whole lot of exposure or maybe what you thought you might. So it was a great lesson to me to release my attachment to the outcome and to just lean into serving at the highest level that I could and trying new things, different call to actions, different freebies, different ways of talking about things on different shows. And I talk about that year in my book, In Becoming More Me, Tapping into Success, Subconscious Secrets of an ADHD Entrepreneurial Mom, which is available in several formats on Amazon if you don't already have a copy. But I talk about it in there because I had tried to write the book a couple of times and I felt like I failed. I felt like I kept falling off the wagon. I didn't feel committed enough to the process. And I actually have a tapping round in the book where I basically let go of my attachment to the outcome of writing the book, kind of let go of the project altogether. And then what ended up happening was perfect. Once I let go of the outcome, I ended up leaning into a year of podcasting, just focusing on that being my number one way of growing my business, communicating with people, creating content, all the things. Out of that, I have had at least a dozen different connections emerge that I am still active with, where we promote each other, where clients get sent my way, and it turned out to be a beautiful thing. But I had to lean into it without knowing that that would happen. Do things before you're ready. You will learn along the way. It's okay to make mistakes, and it doesn't have to be perfect. But when you're on the journey and you're feeling those times when you feel stagnant or you feel stuck or you just don't feel like you can take that next step that you know you need to take, your nervous system and your subconscious are most likely the parts of you that need the attention the most. And that includes, but is not limited to, your inner child and your feelings and your past traumas and your future worries and anxieties and all of the programming that you took in like it was just a fact from the time that you were born until you were like 7 to 10 years old. All of that stuff adds up, and it is such a big part of who you are right now. And working with it is such a big part of becoming who you're meant to be in this world. So I just highly recommend leaning into coaching and leaning into the help that is going to help you transform. Because once I started working with my nervous system and my subconscious mind, so many things happened. I was able to transform my own past traumas so that they didn't affect my present moments in the same ways that they used to. I was able to reframe countless bothersome memories so that that negative charge didn't zap me. You know, we're like a battery, and when we are leaking energy to the past, to things that aren't even happening, we don't have that power in the here and now. And it really diminishes our natural limitlessness, our natural unstoppability, because our power isn't right here where we need it. I was able to create uplifting beliefs about success, about money, and I have used them every step of the way. As I've built my business, as I've helped my clients, as I've written my book, all the things, as I've raised my family, as I've, up-leveled my marriage, every step of the way. I've been able to, take care of different phobias and fears of mine, needles, fears of heights, all those kind of things. I up-leveled and continue to up-level my sex life, my self-love. I eliminated cravings that used to have such a hold over me. Food cravings are such a fun thing to work on with this kind of work, and a really amazing thing to do in a one-on-one environment. I became more patient as a mom and with myself. I became more responsive. I really learned how to get present, what that feels like, how I act when I'm that way versus when I'm not present. I learned to slow down. I learned to allow pleasure and to elevate that, recognizing that while we have a ceiling for pain, there's none for pleasure. We can keep elevating our capacity for it and using it to really fuel our success. And it's so underused, guys, so underused. And it works so much better than the hustling, the grinding, the pushing, all the stuff we've been conditioned to do. I was able to tap myself out with EFT of reading glasses twice. Crazy, right? But my eyes were starting to feel strained. I was needing the reading glasses all the time. And I was like, hey, hang on a second. I've got this modality here. Let me try it. It was amazing how quickly it worked and how much I haven't needed them. I haven't needed them in years. It was crazy. But anything is possible, guys. Really, like literally anything. I was able to eliminate my migraines. I was able to heal back pain, neck pain, foot pain, all sorts of different physical pains. And I was able to release the money blocks that held me back for so many years from stepping into my own abundance. And that was huge for me because at this point in my life, I've done so much work on healing relationships and self-love and working on my parenting and health and all sorts of other things that money's the thing. It's like, that's the thing that helps all the other things that I want to do. All the wishes, all the dreams, all the traveling and experiences and ways that I want to be able to create legacy and be able to have time, be able to buy time so that I can enjoy more of mine doing the things that I love. That's all money. And so the more that I can keep elevating my ability to create more abundance, the better that gets. And that's limitless, absolutely limitless. So if you're finding yourself coming up against like visibility blocks or vulnerability blocks or having trouble getting to that next level of your business, then I highly recommend hopping on like a mini session with me. And I'll get you the link for that. It's just gamechangingconversation.com and /mini session. Go in for that. If you're actually listening to this podcast close to when it airs, I have an insane, I'll repeat, insane end of year sale going on for my Becoming More You signature one-on-one coaching. And you're gonna need to book one of those calls so that I can learn about you and see if I wanna offer you one of the limited spots that I have left. But quite literally, even when I started doing this kind of coaching years ago, my prices were higher than what's being offered right now. So this is an amazing program. If you wanna start 2025 off on the right foot, and either combine this with already existing coaching that you're doing or make this your focus and your coaching for the first quarter of the year, you will be forever changed. We will transform your mind, your limiting beliefs. We will get you embodying success and pleasure and fulfillment. And we're gonna do that through all the things you always hear me talking about on here. Vision casting, hypnotherapy, EFT tapping, eye movement, all sorts of practical coaching, and then all that nourishment of your nervous system, all that rewiring of your subconscious, that emotional regulation, these integrative healing practices, these self-leadership strategies, and everything else is going to be part of your custom implementation game plan so that you can really learn to ditch the overwhelm, the exhaustion, the distraction, really step into vulnerability and visibility, heal your past, manifest the abundance, create more intimacy, more connection, whether that's with a partner, your kids, your coworkers, your parents, your siblings, everywhere. Be able to release the self-doubt, the not enoughness, we've all got that somewhere, right? Recover from perfectionism and all the ways that holds you back, and just achieve your goals with ease. It's totally for you, okay? And it's very supportive and very customized, and you will learn to overcome what I call the 3 biggest challenges for busy-minded ADHD entrepreneurs and professionals. The first one that I see all the time is the overwhelm and the hustle trap, which is where you're constantly juggling responsibilities, you're pushing through all the to-do lists, and you don't have a clear sense of direction. You don't have a compass of pleasure, and you end up feeling burnout, you don't feel fulfilled, and this is for both your personal life and your business life. The next thing that I see a lot of is vulnerability and doubt. So this is where you struggle with connection and intimacy that stems from uncertainty and second guessing yourself. So this program challenges your self-image so that you can stop missing opportunities to create progress and grow. Implement, right? And then the last thing that I see a lot of, these are not the only 3 things that I see, but these are pretty prominent, is the visibility and perfectionism block. So this is where you have a fear of being seen. You have a fear of stepping into the spotlight fully and authentically, and it's often accompanied by belief-based excuses. So those things reflect the need for things to be different in order for you to be able to do the thing. Like we were talking about before, whether it's go on a podcast, do public speaking, coach people, announce an offer, ask for money for what you do, ask for more money for what you do. Whatever the thing is, there's this block there that prevents skills and experiences from being maximally leveraged so that you can have influence. And so we work on that too. And yeah, so definitely go to gamechangingconversation.com /mini session and just book a call. That is your time to literally ask me anything, get personalized strategy from me, and then if and only if you want to and it feels aligned, learn about my program. But that mini session, that's all about you. Nothing's for sale there, no money to spend, just hop on, spend a little bit of time with me, learning more about yourself and learning more about the best things that you can be doing right now to double your income in 2025, to feel more fulfilled, to enjoy pleasure as a fuel for your success, and to really lean in to the help and support necessary to feel differently and to grow in brand new ways. Okay? So I highly recommend checking that out. And yeah, 'cause it's not just a theory, you know? It's a transformative experience. You will not end it the same way that you began it. I've never had anybody finish my program the same as when they started it. There's always massive, massive change. So go grab yourself a mini session, go register for the January 10th workshop so that we can work on that subconscious synergy and really elevate your business strategy for 2025. You're going to find that by going to teresalearlevine.org/workshop. And then 2025 is right around the corner. I just did an amazing workshop on setting goals and also kind of making it through the holidays in a peaceful way. And it was called Release, Renew, and Refocus, your plan for a peaceful holiday season and powerful 2025. I gotta tell you guys, the exercises we did during that workshop for goal setting are like nothing you've seen in any other goal setting workshop. And they will really juice up your goals, make them more palpable, and have you feeling them like never before. So I definitely recommend checking out that workshop replay, and you can join my school community in order to get that. The link for that is going to be in the show notes. You can also just go to school.com/discovery. And then from there, you will see a page where you can type in something by the magnifying glass. Type in Teresa Lear Levine, and then you're going to see the Becoming More Me community pop up, so that if you're not already a member, you can just click on that and hit the join group button, and we'll approve your membership, and you can grab the replay from there while it's still available. It won't be up for terribly long, so definitely do that soon. And yeah, let me know how this episode was for you guys, if it was all right with me being on my walking pad, getting some exercise, burning some calories while we chit-chatted about 2025, and then go grab all those resources. Great free workshop coming up, great free workshop replay you can grab now, awesome mini session you can go book. 2025 is going to be amazing. I believe in you, I'm rooting for you, and I also know you have so many choices when it comes to podcasts. Thanks for taking your time today to listen to Becoming More Me. Have a fantastic day. All right. Mwah. Peace out. Thanks for spending some of your precious time with me today. If you loved this episode, please leave a review or simply share it with someone else who would get great benefit from it too. If you share on social media, please tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. And if your inner critic is still trying to argue with those facts, hit me up. We've got work to do.